Welcome to Medical Mondays. I'm Matthew Bulow, aviation attorney over at Ramos Law. Each week, we're going to be breaking down FAA medical guidelines so pilots know exactly what to expect and how to protect their medical certificate. On this episode of Medical Monday, we're going to be getting back to the basics. So today's question is simply, what class of medical certificate should I apply for? Probably the first question you should ask yourself when you decide to start in aviation. Before we get into that, we have to ask, do I even need a medical certificate? For many GA pilots, general aviation pilots, the answer is probably going to be no. Section 61.23 of Title 14 of the Code of Federal Regulations addresses when a medical certificate is required and what class is required for particular operations. Looking at 14 CFR, Section 61.23, subsection B, there are many situations where a medical certificate is not required at all, including when you're exercising sport pilot privileges, when you're exercising PPL privileges in a balloon, operating a glider, when you're acting as a flight instructor but not the PIC or required crew member, and if you hold a current military flight physical and the flight does not require more than a third class medical and is conducted within U.S. airspace. Just a few situations there. While glider and balloon privileges are great, most pilots who operate without a medical certificate will fall into that first category of sport pilots. This is particularly relevant with the MOSAIC updates that were made in the summer of 2025. The new regulations and rules have expanded the sport pilot category significantly with respect to both the operational limitations and the types of aircraft covered. Most significantly, sport pilots are limited to a single passenger, even if their aircraft can hold more, and they may not fly for compensation, and they're limited to daytime VFR operations and have altitude and airspeed ceilings. To determine whether a sport pilot certificate might be the right option for you, check out the FAA's MOSAIC rule or 14 CFR section 61.315, or reach out to an aviation attorney for guidance before you apply for an FAA medical certificate. Another option for airmen who have previously held a medical certificate and would like some more privileges compared to their sport pilot counterparts is BasicMed. To fly under BasicMed, you'll have to see a doctor, that means a DO or MD after their name, to complete the FAA's Comprehensive Medical Exam Checklist, or the CMEC. You and your doctor will complete this form that is nearly identical to the MedExpress form that would be required for a first, second, or third class medical. And if your doctor signs off on that form attesting to your fitness to fly, then you can operate under BasicMed. The most significant limitations under BasicMed are going to be an aircraft authorized to carry no more than 7 total occupants and a max takeoff weight no more than 12,500 pounds. You cannot fly for hire. You must operate under VFR or IFR in the U.S. at or below 18,000 feet above sea level and no more than 250 knots. For more info, please see the FAA and AOPA's online BasicMed resource or reach out to an aviation attorney. Also relevant for both BasicMed and sport pilot privileges is that your most recent application for a medical certificate or your medical certificate or special issuance cannot have been withdrawn, revoked, suspended, or denied. So you got to make sure that that certificate expired naturally before you go to BasicMed or use those sport pilot privileges. Now, we can finally address the actual FAA medical certificates, which come in first, second, or third class. Third class medicals are generally going to be for the GA pilots. Some flight instructors may be able to get by with a third class medical certificate, as flight instruction is one of the rare scenarios where you might operate for hire while using a third class medical certificate or even no medical under certain circumstances. A second class medical certificate is going to be required for almost all air traffic controllers, as well as most pilots flying for hire, but pilots that don't want to go all the way up to that airline transport pilot level. A first class medical certificate is going to be required for airline transport pilots. If you aspire to fly for a Part 121 operation, then you'll need to be able to hold and maintain a first class FAA medical certificate. Now, once you get into the world of the FAA medicals, so first, second, or third class, then the requirements are going to be nearly identical. You will be held to a slightly higher vision standard for second and first class medicals respectively, and you'll need regular EKGs for a first class medical. Otherwise, the major difference is in how often you'll need to get a physical. For first class airmen under 40 years old, you'll need to see an AME every 12 months and every 6 months after age 40. For second class, it'll be every 12 months, regardless of your age. First and second class medicals will then lapse after their expiration and will then be valid with third class privileges for a total of either 5 years or 2 years, depending on the age at the time of that physical. For third class certificates, under 40, that certificate is going to be good for 60 months, 5 years, and for 2 years if you're over 40 at the time of your physical. If you're not sure what class of medical you need or whether you'll be able to get that class of medical, then reach out to an aviation attorney for advice and guidance through that process. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for another Medical Monday. We'll see you next week.